Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the modular online training program conducted by SEAMEO Regional Training Center in Vietnam, SEAMEO RETRAC. My name is Jo Lu, Program Officer of International Development from SEAMEO RETRAC, and I will be the moderator for today's section. About our modular online training program, or MOTP, after the series 2021-2022, SEAMEO RETRAC continues to assist SEAMEO member countries with the MOTP Series 2022-2023, starting in July 2022. It has 6 modules with 4 topics for each module. Covered this morning will be Module 2 on teacher development and support with the 2 topics, building a professional learning community and administrative support and involvement. Before we start, kindly keep in mind the following housekeeping rules. Our webinar is video recorded, so please watch and listen to the video. This video will be less than 30 minutes. If you have any questions regarding to the video, kindly type them into the chat box. And after the video, we will have some time for questions and answers with our trainer, Dr. Anita. From this training session onwards, we will participate via the Zoom platform with the whole section recorded, and then the video recording will be uploaded on a YouTube channel. For your reference and review later on, the YouTube link is provided on the MOTP's website. About Dr. Anita Clapano-Oblina, she obtained her doctorate degree in education planning and management in the Philippines and had been in the field of education and engaged in administrative functions back in the Philippines. She was the assistant to the academic vice president at Xavier University in 2014 and dean of faculty and academic affairs at Finya Cagayan de Oro College from 2015 to 2017. In 2018, she came back to SEAMEO RETRAC as a senior education specialist and has been working as a curriculum developer, instructional materials designer, trainer, researcher, and lecturer. She is very passionate about advancing the leadership and management skills of the school leaders, managers, administrators, and teachers in Southeast Asia. Before turning over to our presenter, I would like to request everyone to turn on your camera for a photo shoot. It is very nice seeing you all again, and we're really looking forward to an interesting and insightful training section today. So we will take 3 shots, okay? For the first shot, for the second shot, and for a final shot. Thank you very much, everybody. And now I would like to invite Dr. Anita to have some words with our dear participants.
Hello, our dearest participants. Welcome back to our training session. I'm so happy to meet you again. Now, as already mentioned, we are now in our Module 2, Series 2022-2023. And we are going to take now the last 2 topics of Module 2. And I invite you to watch the recorded video. And then we will discuss and share insights and experiences about the topic. We will start with the first topic for today's session, building a professional learning community. I'm pretty sure you are so familiar of that one, and I'm pretty sure that you have it in your school. So it will be really a very exciting for me to discuss what it is all about with you after watching the video. And so we will now listen and watch the recorded video.
Hi everyone, welcome to our modular online training session
Today, we are going to explore the last two topics of Module 2, Teacher Development and Support. The last two topics include Topic 7, Building a Professional Learning Community, and Topic 8, Administrative Support and Involvement. Let's start with Topic 7, Building a Professional Learning Community, with the following key points. What is a professional learning community? What is the key concept of professional learning community? And what are some tips of building a professional learning community? What is a professional learning community? A professional learning community is an ongoing process in which educators work collaboratively in recurring cycles of collective inquiry and action research to reflect on their instructional practice, study new learning standards to enhance their teaching, and develop solutions to improve the performance of students they serve. Professional learning communities are groups of educators who meet regularly to share expertise, analyze student work, plan instruction, and collaborate to improve teaching skills and the academic performance of students. A professional learning community represents a way of working. Inquiry and reflection on data are at the heart of professional learning communities. Participants are constantly asking questions about how a particular strategy impacted students' learning and what they can do better next time to address any gaps. Professional learning communities operate under the assumption that the key to improved learning for students is continuous job-embedded learning for educators. Professional learning community is rooted on its belief that learning rather than teaching is the fundamental purpose of the school. The very essence of a professional learning community is a focus on and a commitment to the learning of each student. This requires a radical shift to impact professional learning community. Thus, the twofold radical shift is as follows. First is the shift of the fundamental purpose from a focus on teaching to a focus on learning, from emphasis on what was taught to a fixation on what students learn, from a coverage of content to demonstration of proficiency. And second shift is in the work of teachers and in school culture. From private practice to open sharing of practice, from these are my students and those are your students, to these are our students. From each teacher assigning priority to different learning standards, to collaborative teams establishing the priority of standards. With this in mind, let's proceed to the second key point of my presentation. What is the key concept of professional learning community? According to Dufour, 2005, the key concept of professional learning community is captured in the three big ideas. They are as follows. Big idea number 1, focus on learning. Big idea number 2, focus on collaboration. And big idea number 3, focus on results. Big idea number 1, focus on learning. The professional learning community model flows from the assumption that the core mission of formal education is not simply to ensure that students are taught, but to ensure high levels of learning for all students. This simple shift from a focus on teaching to a focus on learning has profound implications for schools. School mission statements that promise learning for all have become a cliche. But when a school staff takes the statement literally, when teachers view it as a pledge to ensure the success of each student rather than as politically correct hyperbole, profound changes begin to take place. Schools must examine their policies, practices, and procedures in order to know that they align and enforce high levels of learning for all students. When the professional learning communities shift the focus from teaching to a focus on learning, the heart of the professional learning communities are around the four critical questions. Critical question number 1, what do we expect our students to learn? Critical question number 2, how will we know if our students have learned it? Critical question number 3, how will we respond when some students do not learn it? And critical question number 4, how can we extend the learning for students who have demonstrated proficiency? Critical question number 1, what do we expect our students to learn? We expect our students to learn the guaranteed aligned curriculum across grade levels and vertically from one grade to the next. The common core learning targets, standards in student work and rigor. Professional learning teams embrace accountability and see mastery of content and skills as their personal responsibility. Teams set annual measurable goals that they hold themselves accountable to. They redesign the way they define their curriculum, and they systematically track progress in their classrooms. Critical question number 2, how will we know if our students have learned it? Professional learning teams develop proficiency skills for all essential standards. They develop common formative assessments using proficiency skills to monitor student progress on essential outcomes. These assessments are aligned with local and state assessments. They develop a common understanding about what student performance that is proficient and student performance that is not proficient. They discuss various strategies they can employ to obtain feedback on student learning. We use formative assessments, observations, summative assessments, and results analysis to monitor student learning progress. Critical question number 3, how will we respond when some students do not learn it? When teachers determine a student has difficulty, the professional learning communities respond to the student's needs to be timely, based on intervention rather than remediation. The plan provides students with help as soon as they experience difficulty rather than after they have failed. Directive, instead of inviting students to seek additional help, the systematic plan requires students to devote extra time and receive additional assistance until they have mastered the necessary concepts. This third critical question requires professional learning teams to answer. Are students assured extra time and support for learning? Is our focus prompt intervention rather than sluggish remediation? Is our response timely and directive rather than invitational? And is our response systematic? These questions enable teachers to clarify exactly what each student must learn and consider how they can monitor each student learning in a timely and provide systematic interventions. Interventions are carefully matched to the individual needs of students. These intervention strategies ensure students receive additional support for learning when they have difficulties. And critical question number 4, How can we extend the learning for students who have demonstrated proficiency? A professional learning community provides all students with a rigorous and challenging academic program. For advanced students, they are going to be provided enrichment activities in each lesson based on proficiency scales, school-wide enrichment based on essential standards, and learning extensions for a whole class or small groups or individual differentiation based on student choice. Professional learning community team ensures learning is enriched when students have already attained the intended outcomes. Through the professional learning community's responses to these 4 critical questions, they will be better able to align their daily work and professional development needs with the specific needs of students. Through this process of collaborative inquiry, the teachers gain a deeper knowledge of their student pedagogy and content. The benefit of this work is the success of their students. Big idea number 2, focus on collaboration. Professional learning community collaboration is a systematic approach of an ongoing cycle of questions that promote deep team learning, focusing their efforts on 4 critical questions. Professional learning community members recognize that they must work together to achieve their collective purpose of learning for all. Hence, they create structures to promote a culture of collaboration. This structure of continuous inquiry and reflection enables teachers to learn from one another, to experiment with new solutions, and to examine what does and doesn't work in order to find the best teaching methods for their students. And big idea number 3, focus on results. Professional learning communities work together to improve student achievement, and this focus on results becomes the routine work of everyone in the school. Every teacher team participates in an ongoing process of identifying the current level of student achievement, establishing SMART goals to improve the current level, working together towards achieving these goals, and providing periodic evidence of progress through meaningful data collection and analysis. Professional learning communities measure their effectiveness on the basis of results rather than intentions. All programs, policies, and practices are continually assessed on the basis of their impact on student learning. All staff members receive relevant and timely information on their effectiveness in achieving intended results. Educators who focus on results must stop limiting improvement goals to factors outside the classroom, such as student discipline and staff morale, and shift their attention to goals that focus on student learning. Educators must stop working on isolation and hoarding their ideas, materials, and strategies. Instead, begin to work together to meet the needs of all students. They must stop assessing their own effectiveness on the basis of how busy they are or how many initiatives they have launched, and begin instead to ask, have we made progress on the goals that are important to us? Professional learning communities are formal groups that collectively work towards learning for all students. This takes us to the last key point of my presentation. What are some tips of building a professional learning community? I would like to share with you 6 tips for building a professional learning community. 1. Establish a shared vision. 2. Establish a set of shared norms. 3. Provide structure and guidance. 4. Create a culture of collaboration. 5. Focus on being data-driven. And 6. Allow regular dialogue and reflection. Establish a shared vision. Professional learning community must have a purpose for working as a team. A shared vision that keeps them motivated and focused. It is nearly impossible for professional learning communities to thrive without specific goals and a defined purpose. Without a clear vision and end goal at the start, the professional learning community cannot accomplish anything of significance. In the field of education, the goals of teachers in a learning community usually involved encouraging student interaction and engagement, improving student focus and concentration, improving student learning, promoting consistency across instruction methods among teachers, and building a community of educators and other professionals. Establish a set of shared norms. Just like a classroom lesson, to be effective, professional learning communities need norms and standards. Develop a set of beliefs and practices to refer to. Creating a set of shared beliefs and practices helps teachers monitor their own actions, hold each other accountable, and ensure that they are all active participants in the professional learning community process. These practices may include things such as arriving at meetings on time, remaining focused and avoiding distractions, rotating the role of facilitator among group members, or agreeing to prepare certain materials ahead of each session, and developing specific norms and expectations regarding the roles, responsibilities, and relationships of group members to ensure that all members are active participants in the professional learning community process. Some staff-wide behaviors that support successful professional learning communities include openly sharing mistakes, challenges, and uncertainties in work, colleagues accepting disagreements that foster new dialogue, and teachers being respectful and considerate of their colleagues. Provide structure and guidance. In order for the learning community to achieve its outlined goals, structure and guidance are important to keep members on track and focus on objectives. In conducting a meeting, for example, it is beneficial to provide guidance to help teachers best utilize their time together. Typically, professional learning community meetings include the following activities: reviewing student data, setting learning goals, reflecting on teaching practice, exploring resources to learn about new practices, and planning how to apply new learning. Every professional learning community meeting should include time for teachers to critically reflect on how specific teaching practices are impacting student learning outcomes. A professional learning community facilitator's guide can equip teachers and coaches to lead professional learning community meetings. Create a culture of collaboration. Professional learning community teams need uninterrupted blocks of time to engage in meaningful conversations that delve beyond superficial questions about instruction toward questions that will advance student learning. For example, how will we teach the content? How will we know if students have learned the content? How will we respond to students who have not learned? This should also have ongoing, consistent meeting times for professional learning communities such that they are able to respond to students' needs in a timely manner. Another way to promote collaboration within professional learning community is by providing opportunities for teachers to observe each other's classrooms and teach lessons together. Teachers sharing their understandings and instructional practices with one another supports the learning of all members in the community. Successful professional learning communities promote distributed expertise, and teachers recognize that their individual and collective goals are best met by working together. Building this kind of learning community isn't easy. Many teachers are used to working in isolation, which can make them reluctant to share their challenges and receive feedback from others. Focus your professional learning community on being data-driven. Communities that rely on intuition and personal opinions rarely succeed in completing their objectives. The professional learning communities that implement a variety of student data and research to drive their choices, on the other hand, regularly find a clear path forward. They are able to be truly strategic with their decision-making processes and are able to confidently recommend effective solutions to the problems they are working to address in their communities. Analyzing data is a powerful and essential strategy for ensuring that all students have an equal opportunity to learn and for meeting the learning standards. This is also important when it comes to support for the professional learning community. When professional learning community can present hard data as a metric for success, they receive more support from administration and teachers, and allow regular dialogue and reflection. As mentioned previously, participants in a learning community must act and speak collaboratively, understanding that only through discussing different opinions will they find successful solutions. It is essential that a learning community takes time to reflect both after meetings and after a decision is implemented. Is the decision achieving the desired results? Why or why not? How can the decision be adapted to achieve even greater results? These are the types of questions that a learning community must ask if they are to see lasting results. I have just finished my presentation. I would like to wrap it up with a few thoughts. Building professional learning communities require a shift from the paradigm of schools as bureaucracies to a vision of schools as communities. Teachers and learning community schools work in teams where collaboratively through sustained reflection and inquiry, they learn by sharing professional practices across these three big ideas. Big idea number one, focus on learning. Big idea number two, focus on collaboration. And big idea number three, focus on results. The culture of professional learning community permits the teachers in a school to view themselves as members of a team of learners and leaders rather than as participants in the traditional leader-follower roles. In turn, teachers are empowered to lead a change. Thank you for your participation. Hello, thank you for watching the video. So, I don't know if Miss Chow is around. Miss Chow?
Yes.
Okay.
So we will now move to the Q&A section regarding the video was just watched on building a PLC. Yes, so should you have any questions, please kindly type them into the chat box or raise them up and have a discussion with our trainer, Dr. Anita. So while we're waiting for the questions, would you like to have some inputs regarding the video we just watched, Dr. Anita?
Yes, thank you so much, Ms. Chow. Okay, before we start the Q&A, I would like to share with you a thought about professional learning community. And I'm pretty sure you already have professional learning community in your school. Now to start, I would like to share with you that the PLC, or the professional learning community, can be named differently depending on the schools. For example, some schools call the professional learning community as Learning Action Circle, or they call it LAC. And some also name it as Teacher Learning Circle, or TLC. Others name it as PLT, or Professional Learning Team, or Professional Learning Network, like PLN. So there are different acronyms of professional learning community. But I would like to just point out that the professional learning community is focused on learning, as I mentioned in my presentation. The heart of professional learning community is learning, to be able to perform, to be able to reach out to students and to maximize their learning outcomes. So that professional learning community is not focusing on teaching, but it is focusing on learning. I'd like to just point out the idea of learning here. I hope you agree with me when I said that learning means change. When we teach, we would like our students to learn. And what is the measure of that learning? How do we gauge, the learning of the students? We know that learning happens when there is change. When the student changes from not able to write his name, for example, to be able to write. Okay. When the student changed the behavior from bad to good, there is change. When the student can speak English from not being able to speak English, so there is change. So therefore, learning happens. So that is the intention of the professional learning community. Its goal is to be able to impact student learning. And I would like to bring you to the three big ideas. The key concept of professional learning community is captured in the three big ideas. So we have big idea number one, focus on learning. The center is learning, is change. We would like to transform the student. We would like to raise the student from one level of education to the next level. We would like to have the student change from being a student to become an employee, a productive citizen of the country. There is change. Focus on learning. But how do we achieve that? That is bringing us to the second big idea, which is focus on collaboration. Learning can happen when there is a collaborative efforts of the teachers and the administrators to work together in order to impact student learning. But how do we know then that this collaborative effort is a success? After implementing, what has been decided in these collaborative efforts, how do we measure that it is a success? We go to the results, we go to the data. We have to research, we have to find out, we have to use some tools. We need to survey, for example. We need the outputs of the students. So we can have summative or formative assessments or conduct research. That is why we need this action research to be able to find out the results of what has been implemented. So this is what a professional learning community is doing. The goal is learning. So what is the role of teaching then? if the center of the professional learning community is learning. Teaching now is used as a tool, an instrument to impact learning. So that if my strategy does not work, I should use another one to make this learning happening in my class. So this is what is professional learning community doing in the school, which is why I was asking a while ago, and I was not just asking, but I am rather confident that each school has a professional learning community, because this is the center of our teaching. This is the purpose of the school. So I hope I have shared with you about the concept of professional learning community. And at this time, we already have some questions, Ms. Chow.
Yes, we're having questions from Mr. Lamberto Pilatan and also Serene Hian in the chat box.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, I can read it. From Mr. Lamberto Pilatan. What are the problems encountered by teachers in school in building professional learning communities? It's a very interesting question. Now, back when I was teaching in the university, we have a professional learning community. And what we do there, before answering your question, I would like to describe how we did, and what we were doing in that small groups of teachers. Basically, that small groups of teachers was used as our meeting, our meeting time, where we teachers are going to share where we are in a particular lesson. Because you see, that small group of teachers we call professional learning community, is divided into different small groups. So we have the division, or the grouping is based on the subject, like who are teaching this subject. If you are teaching in literature, so you go to the literature group, or if you're teaching grammar, this is for the English department, for instance, then you go to the grammar teachers group, and so on. And that was really very, very effective, because we were able to look back to what we were doing in the class, and our challenges, and our best practices as well. And then we share. And we see that small professional learning community we call was really doing great. It was a very good, I would say, instrument to deliver good lessons and to be effective, in trying to impact student learning. But the question is, what are the difficulties? What are the challenges that we have encountered in building that professional learning community? The first one that really bothered us was I would say the behavior of the teachers. There are teachers who are reluctant to join. There are teachers who are passive about, forming this group. But what we did really was trying to understand, this was a collaborative effort. And so we discussed. We see the problems, like we have the problem on classroom management, for instance. So we see that there are some students who are not behaving well or are not attending to the class actively or are always absent, and there are lots of problems there. And then we discuss, because we aim at each student will be able to learn, would be able to maximize the learning in the classroom. So we first discuss some difficulties, and then we say, well, how do we address this? So it was really a collaborative effort. And those teachers who were at first reluctant to join, eventually they were inspired and motivated. But the thing there is the support of the administration. So if the support of the administration is visible, then I guess it would not be that difficult to build professional learning community. The only thing that matters a lot is that there must be goal, there must be objective. Why we are going to create this? And when all teachers are, I would say, conscientized and are agreeing to building it and developing one, then there is not much problem. Because we put structure, particular time that we meet, it must be all agreed upon. And all the details, that we consider to be the barriers of building professional learning community were addressed. Okay, I hope I have answered your question, Mr. Lamberto. Okay, we have here, how could a school culture affect the development of, this is a follow-up question. How could a school culture affect the development of professional learning communities? It really affects much. It affects much. Well, I would say, if the school is not into quality education, if the school is not aiming at standards, if the school is just mediocre about education, that's okay, everything is just all right, and do not level up, that is the problem. It must be coming from the administrators, from the support of the administration. Teachers can recommend, teachers can present professional learning community, like creating one. But if there is not much support and the support is not visible, then that becomes a barrier, a challenge. So I would say school culture affects so much, because I understand that even here in Vietnam, for instance, there are schools who are not into really that quality education. And teachers are just left out and do their thing. And they come to class, well, you have your syllabus, you have your lesson plan, and you can deliver the lesson. And after that, teachers leave. Nothing. But if the school is aiming at, as I said, standard education, the school will capture professional learning community and make it visible in the school. Okay. So we need to develop that culture first. Okay, thank you. Now we have here from Sarim Hyang. I have one question. I'm curious to know that the elaboration of action research. Okay, maybe very quickly. We see action research is usually in the education sector. Action research is intended to improve the teaching learning practices of the school for teachers, for instance. So you have to define first what is the problem, and then what is the purpose of your research. And when this purpose, what is the problem and the purpose? And when it is clear, then you go to methods on how you're going to, how are you going to collect data? And then when the data is collected, then you get to analyze it and then see what's the result and then implement the findings you feel good to address the problem. Okay, and it is a cycle. The purpose of action research is to improve student performance. But then you have to look into what are these barriers to improve my student learning. Pick up one and do a research. It is called action because the effect or the result of that research must be acted upon, must be implemented, and then find out whether it works or not. And if it does not work, do again another research, another way around to make your decision, the result, effective. Okay, so action research is not based on theory, but based on experiences. You have to improve your practices and your experiences. So it needs to be implemented. The result must be implemented. I hope I have given you my thought. Sarin, thank you for that question. Action research is not really a long process. It's different when you do your dissertation research or when you publish. That's another one. But it depends on the problem that you are encountering, addressing. There are barriers or problems in school that maybe take much time to address. But there are also problems that maybe not so big and you can address that maybe shortly. That will depend on the concern, on the issue that you are dealing with. So we have here again from Mr. Lamberto. Thanks for this one. Okay. PLC's goal is to impact learning. I do agree with you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Indeed, I am always motivated to give my best in order for my learners to learn at the optimum level. Congratulations. Very nice to hear from you. That is quite true. Now, in teaching and learning, in education, in general, the purpose of education is really to impact learning, to make a change for students. And the change is for good, for the better. That is the reason why the school exists. There's no other reason. The school exists because the school wants the students to learn. The school exists because the school wants to make changes of the student so that student becomes good citizens, so that students become productive citizens, leaders of the country, leaders of their community, leaders of their family. Change is the purpose of the school. Not teaching. Teaching is not the purpose. It's not. Teaching is just the instrument to impact learning. And I hope we are clear to that as teachers. We know our role, and we should know. Some of us will start thinking about teaching strategies, but that's not the end. Not the end. That's why the 3 big ideas ended with big idea number 3. results. The results will tell whether learning happens or not. Thank you, Mr. Lamberto. I really commend your idea and your thoughts about PLC and how you deal, yourself as a teacher. Thank you so much. So we have again from Sarim. Are only those from the same school included, or can be a mixture of teachers from different schools as well? I think you're referring now to the professional learning community. You can develop, you can have like professional learning network. You can reach out other schools, different schools. That will depend on the purpose. What is the goal? You have to define the goal of your professional learning community. It is possible to do it. But let's first start within our school, within our department, from the department to other departments, and the entire school. And then maybe we can go out. It would depend actually of the purpose of your network. But it is really very possible to do it. The only thing then there is that you have this, and that is even good, when you can connect with other schools, because then there you learn their experiences, their challenges, and their best practices, which you can bring in to your school. It would be very, very, I would say, desirable to have that. In fact, that is now the call. We need to have this little globalized world, I would say. We are in the globalization. We first have our networking within our place, for example, like in particular place, like in Cagayan de Oro City, in my hometown, for instance, we can connect with different schools. And then we can connect outside the country. It would depend actually on the purpose and the availability and the connections, the network. But let's start from our own school, because the purpose of that one is to improve the learning of our students in our school. I would like my student to learn better, to maximize. I would like the change to happen. How can I change my student from not learning to learning, from not able to, I would say compute numbers, to be able to compute numbers? There are things that, we can think of. Okay. You're right. You can. It's possible that you can connect your professional. It's a mixture of teachers from different schools. Again, that depends on your purpose. And then we have here from Janeth Morata Fuentes. Good morning too. Are there particular evaluation tools used to see if the PLC is working the way it should? I have encountered some tools, which could be used, but at the same time, we can also, the school can create, instruments to be able to evaluate whether or not your PLC is working. Evaluation tools, very important. And I would say one tool that you can use is you conduct a research, conduct a survey. Survey that you will address, some components, for example, of your professional learning community. like component 1, component 2, component 3, and then you create some, I would say, rubrics. You can use Likert scale, for example, to gauge whether your PLC is working or not. And then another tool aside from your survey instrument could be your group discussion, or you can discuss, the strengths and the weaknesses of your PLC and how do you advance it, to keep it growing and sustaining. You can have a focus group discussion, or it all depends, there are different ways where you can do it, or maybe one-on-one interview, because there are points that teachers may not be able to discuss by group, but they are comfortable telling that through one-on-one session or one-to-one session. So those are some tools that I could suggest. You can also have paper and pen, check, you have data sheets. It all depends on how you do it. So long as you feel that that instrument is useful to evaluate your PLC. Okay, thank you for that question. Now we have here from book Raymond, John Alemania. I hope I have read it well. Question is, how do we motivate teachers to participate in PLC amidst added working load? Very interesting question. Now, we see, if the teachers appreciate the meaning of PLC, if the teachers understand better, not better, but if the teachers understand well the purpose of PLC, then I guess it's not a problem. It's not a difficult thing to motivate teachers to join in. The question is, there are additional works. Teachers are overloaded. Again, in this case, I would say the support of the administration is very, very important. There must be a structure. By structure, the administration would allow teachers time to stop working and come together, because the administration feels it really very critical and very important to improve student learning. So that the added working load will be, I suppose, reduced if that affects the attendance of the faculty. If the PLC is a priority, so one, prioritized items in the lists, then there is not much a problem. As I mentioned earlier, this effort must be a collaborative effort between administrators and teachers. I hope I have answered your question, but then if you feel that you would like to follow it up, then please do so. Thank you so much for your comments, Mr. Lamberto, and your insights. I love it. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. I'm so sorry, Raymond, that you do have your self-reflection to your teaching. That's really very important. Teachers should be reflective. Teachers should give time to stop and look back. What happened to my class today or yesterday? At the end of the day, it would be good to just like take time to reflect. What's happening? Did I make change? And to what extent change happens? Now, I'd like to bring back the idea now of the first big idea of professional learning community, which is focus on learning. Now, focus on learning requires us to think according to the four critical questions. We have the critical question one is, what do we expect our students to learn? Now, this has to do with the goals. What is my goal in teaching this subject? What do I expect my students to learn from this lesson, from this subject? That's the first question we ask. And then the second question we ask is, how will I know if my students have learned it? So here we need to assess. There must be assessment that's happening here to gauge the learning level of the students. And then the critical question number 3 is, how will I respond to students or when some students do not learn it? Intervention. You need some interventions right there. We don't need to give intervention when the student is already failing the subject. The intervention must happen right there. And then the critical question number 4. How can I extend the learning for students who have demonstrated proficiency, those advanced students? This calls for enrichment. Because advanced students get bored to lessons that are easy to them. But we can have these questions answered when we take time to reflect. And so you are right when you said that you really have your self-reflection. It's only then there that we impact learning to the maximum. Okay. Thank you again. And we'll hear from Janet Morata Fuentes. Okay, really, I appreciate that those tools remind you, on the possible things that you're going to do to evaluate your PLC. Thank you for writing on it. And thank you to Himarani for your thoughts. Thank you, Doctor, for the outstanding sharing. Really, I treasure that. Thank you so much, too. So we have here from Susan Saa. Every session we have, Mom, is an enhancement. Thank you so much for your expertise. Thank you, too, for joining us and for have that insight. We have from Christine Joy Bores. Thank you. Thank you and welcome. We have from her Himarani from Malaysia. Totally agree with Doctor. As teachers, we have to understand how to improve ourselves at the first place, then looking for the opportunities to improve our weakness. PLC, then action research is a powerful method to improve our pedagogies and our network. Okay, definitely I agree with you. Need to have action research. It's really very essential because your decision to make a change and to improve student learning is based on facts. It's an evidence-based intervention, and that is what we need. If we need quality education, quality learning, if we have that, if we're empowered to do it, then we can start it from our end, from teachers. You can make up your action research. I mean, you can do your action research. It's really very essential. Very essential to improve your pedagogies, your teaching methodologies, strategies and approaches, as well as your networking. We teachers should not work in isolation. We should reach out others and know where they are and tell them where we are and share, collaborate. I do believe that 2, 3, 4, 5 minds and more minds are always better. Are always better. And that is why collaboration is very vital in education. And I hope the teachers also are willing to share their practices, their materials, their resources with their colleagues. I understand that there are teachers who are hoarding their materials. And they would like to claim as their best teachers. And so they try to keep up that standard. And I won't share, because, it will be a competition. That mindset, I hope we're not doing that. And we're not having that kind of mindset. If our goal is really to impact student learning, then we go out from our shell and reach out and say, what can I do to help you? And please help me also because I need this. This is sharing because no one is perfect. No one can monopolize knowledge. No one can monopolize knowledge. No. Even those experts in the field, they cannot monopolize knowledge. We cannot learn all. It's impossible. We take other people to build our knowledge, our confidence, and our skills. Okay, so we have here from one question. Yeah, I don't mind. You may have another question. That's okay with me, Raymond. So the question is, how could we change the idea, I am nearly retiring and I don't need to be in PLC? Oh, that's another thing. Again, that is a mindset. The change of that person really comes within that person because we can never pull or push that person, to come out and to be active in the PLC. But we can perhaps do something. I think the point here that we can motivate that retiree or nearly to retire teacher is to brag him or her by bragging, just motivating him or them, I would say, to tell them that you need their expertise. They must already have the wisdom that we don't have yet. And we need them to join the PLC, to contribute, what they have learned, their practices, so that their expertise will be, I would say, transmitted. Their legacy will be transmitted to the next generation. That will be their legacy. You can I would say, motivate them in that manner so that they will feel recognized. They will feel very valued. They will feel important. And that's what they need. I would say it's just that we are going to first influence them so that they will be able to join freely. We need a free choice. And PLC is a freedom, especially for, that kind, really. So, we can do it by, as I mentioned, using persuasive approach, persuasion. Because there are two approaches in the arguments, in the debate, or anything that you would like to influence, or anybody you would like to influence. We can attack the person using conviction, the mind, reasons. So, to influence the person, so that the person can say yes. Another one very important is persuasion. You attack the experience. You influence the experience level, the heart level. When you do it both, then you will convince the person, and the person will smoothly join, voluntarily come to you and join the PLC. Because if they would say, I don't need it, then tell them, but we need it. We need you. We need your experience. We need your wisdom. Come, please, join us. That's just my thought about it. I don't know how you approach, but I guess when the person is feeling valued, recognized, and importance, that person will eventually be convinced and joined. Thank you. Okay, so are there more questions coming in? Ms. Chow?
I guess that's all questions for our first video. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much to all participants who joined in the discussion. And now we'll have a short break before continuing with our second topic. So our break we will resume at 10:30. Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay, thank you so much. And looking forward for our next session. Welcome back. We are now going to explore the second topic of today's session. Topic 8, administrative support and involvement with the following key points. What is administrative support and involvement? What are some challenges facing teachers today that need support from the administration? And what kind of support and involvement could administrators provide teachers? And what are some tips to empower teachers? What is administrative support and involvement? Let us first distinguish support and involvement in the context of education. Administrative support refers to administrators as providers. They provide encouragement, opportunities for professional growth, materials and resources for effective teaching and learning, while administrative involvement refers to administrators as partakers. They facilitate shared development experiences of administrators and teachers. By participating in shared learning experiences, administrators and teachers better understand different perspectives and are more likely to develop coherent improvement plans. Administrative support and involvement are critical for school improvement and student learning outcomes. In general, administrative support refers to behaviors that encourage teachers to collaborate with each other, provides opportunities for growth, and offers encouragement. Administrative support creates this supportive culture that influences all other elements of the school community. Administrators hold the positional authority and legal responsibility for running a school. Therefore, the success of any endeavors, especially those intended to disrupt the status quo, relies heavily on an administrator's willingness to provide visible, formal support to those charged with leading change. Administrators are the gatekeepers to providing resources, creating work structures, and sharing decision-making responsibilities. Without visible, formal support, the ability of educators to lead change is severely limited and will result in unscalable innovations at best and inaction at worst. Administrative support remains fundamental for several reasons. First, administrative support boosts the quality of instruction, delivers staff development opportunities consistent with high expectations, fosters retention of the best teachers, and inspires less effective teachers to do more and become competent educators. And at the same time, saves precious resources for other pressing educational needs. Second, administrative support creates a positive relationship between teacher satisfaction and positive school culture with low turnover and high achievement. Teachers are happy working in supportive working environments derived from supportive administrators. And third, administrative support not only influences the overall satisfaction of teachers, but it also contributes to teachers remaining in their current teaching assignments. Administrative support is a very important factor of teacher retention. Teacher being the pillar of the society and the one responsible for building the personal qualities of individual student as competitive citizen of the nation, desires for security, recognition, and continuous enhancement of personal and professional qualities as teachers. In the emerging challenges facing teachers today, the administrative support and involvement are imperative. This moves us to the second key point of my presentation. What are some challenges facing teachers today that need support from the administration? Based on research, Below are listed 7 of the most common challenges faced by teachers today. Challenge number 1, inspiring students to be more self-directed. Challenge number 2, improving learning outcomes. Challenge number 3, differentiating and personalizing teaching. Challenge number 4, getting students to do their work outside the classroom. Challenge number 5, finding the time to keep up with the administrative task. Challenge number 6, understanding changing technology. And challenge number 7, parental involvement. Challenge number 1, inspiring students to be more self-directed. Teachers are having a tough time getting students to be more self-directed. They're looking for a way to ease the pressure of students by keeping them interested and making sure that lesson practices and the homework delivered is fun, accessible anywhere, targeted to improve their weaknesses, and ensuring that learning takes place in a more conducive, less tense, less pressured environment. Challenge number 2, improving learning outcomes. Designing learning outcomes that mean something and are effective ways to measure student potential and success is a big challenge. Meeting those learning outcomes and having solid indicators to prove this, all the while easing the paperwork and the Excel sheets of the teachers, have become unthinkable. Even if these are done well, teachers still don't get that 360 degrees view of how good their students are as a whole. In addition, finding the right way to automate this process in such a way that real-time results are what's needed is of prime importance. Challenge number 3, differentiating and personalizing teaching. What works for one student does not work for another. Teachers have recognized this but have very few ways to test and make sure that different skill levels are being evaluated. A new wave of assessments and how teaching is conducted is important. Newer question types, media-enhanced exams, and the like are what teachers are looking for. Diversifying teaching and keeping it simple at the same time is a balance that is hard to find. Challenge number 4, getting students to do their work outside the classroom. What students do at schools is just a fraction of the effort that needs to be put in for academic success. With this in mind, teachers have the extra added pressure of having students put in the extra effort outside of the classroom. Students still have found no proper incentive to deal with this issue. Teachers are looking for a way that they can encourage students to learn while they're having fun and not make it seem like pursuing knowledge is a tedious task. Challenge number 5, finding the time to keep up with administrative tasks. It takes a lot of time and work to come up with curriculum, teach, be engaged with classrooms, come up with questions for assessments, spend time and sometimes weekends correcting and grading these assessments, and then having to spend hours filling out reports, analysis, strengths, weaknesses, and other performance indicators. Teachers are looking for ways to be eased of this burden so that they can focus on teaching and promoting the importance of education and learning. Challenge number 6, understanding changing technology. Technology has changed all aspects of life directly and indirectly. Unfortunately, as beneficial as it is to have technology in the classroom, it can hinder learning as well. Educators are given the curriculum that must be covered to meet the curriculum reform requirements and common core standards. At the same time, Schools are constantly investing in new learning programs to look for a way to tap into technology while still covering the common core curriculum. Teachers must find new ways to incorporate technological products into their teaching style and their day-to-day lessons. These new tools mean that teaching styles need to be adapted, and transitioning between technology and traditional teaching styles can be challenging when the technology doesn't work as it should. With the advance of the internet and changing technology, teachers have been finding it hard to find easy yet effective systems and platforms to run their classrooms. And challenge number 7, parental involvement. Often teachers find there is no happy medium when it comes to parental involvement. Some parents won't be seen for the entire school year, no matter what sort of issues might arise. Having the parents of students informed and involved is one major area that teachers are having a hard time to keep up with. There are ways parents can become involved and support their child's education at the same time, but teachers don't always get that level from parents. Teachers are looking for an easy way to have parents be a part of their child's journey and have a good understanding of their skills and monitoring their performances on a regular basis. Keeping this in mind, let's move on to the last key point of my presentation. What kind of support and involvement could administrators provide teachers, and what are some tips to empower teachers? I would like to share with you the 4 domains of administrative support that administration could provide to teachers based on Dr. James Howe's framework, 1981. Domain 1, emotional support. Domain 2, appraisal support. Domain 3, instrumental support. And Domain 4, informational support. Domain 1, emotional support. Emotional administrative support means showing appreciation and trust, maintain an open communication, taking an interest in the teacher's work, and empowering teachers. When administrators create an environment of acceptance and support, they combat the feelings of isolation. Examples of emotional support include acknowledging teacher work, encouraging collegiality, valuing teachers' input, and considering it in decision making, showing concerns for teachers and their students, and acknowledging public recognition. Domain 2, appraisal support. Appraisal support is defined as providing ongoing personal appraisals such as frequent feedback and a full trust of teachers' judgment. Appraisal support allows teachers using current practices to set the standard for learning and growth. Creating and fostering an environment where teachers can give feedback on their experience and express what they need to improve their teaching and learning is vital in appraisal support domain. The level of accountability that comes with this can only strengthen trust and respect. Essential components of this type of support include setting clear expectations, providing clear and consistent feedback, showing fairness in evaluation, visiting the classroom enough to make accurate judgments about the instructional practices of the teachers, sharing feedback from those judgments, and coaching to enhance instructional practices as most important appraisal support behaviors. Domain 3, instrumental support. Instrumental support is defined as helping teachers with work-related tasks. Administrators giving instrumental support provided resources such as space, good working conditions, materials, and time to perform required tasks. It also includes understanding how the teachers work, assisting them what they need to improve, assisting with classroom management, enforcing norms, and assisting with managerial type concerns. Instrumental support includes administrator assisting collaboration, discipline problems, parental collaboration and confrontations, and the allocation of materials and resources, as well as giving teachers space and time. And Domain 4, informational support. The informational support is defined as the administrator providing useful information for effective teaching and learning. It provides a clear communication of school's vision, mission, goals, procedures, and policies. Informational support includes providing opportunities for professional growth and development, encouraging teachers to continue to learning and growing, and providing support strategies. It also includes the need for orientation to share specific information, for example, about where to locate materials, who to go to for specific information, locations of parts of the school campus, and the rules governing them, as well as giving information about program design, roles, expectations, and inclusion policies. Furthermore, administrators must keep teachers supported and empowered every day. I would like to share with you 7 tips to empower teachers. 1. Make yourself available. 2. Build in time for peer collaboration. 3. Support your teachers' decisions. 4. Ensure that evaluations are meaningful. 5. Listen to feedback. 6. Understand the value of time. And 7. Offer choice in professional learning. Make yourself available. Administrators should make it clear that they are available to provide support. One way to do so is by having an open door policy. If this gets too hectic, consider leaving your door open only during certain hours. If teachers aren't taking advantage of your open door policy, circulate the hallways or drop by the teacher's lounge. Greet your staff by name when possible. Ask how they're doing and if there's anything they need. You'll build a positive culture that encourages your staff to seek help when needed. When your staff comes to you with a problem, try not to force your opinion in most cases. Offer some options, explain them, and tell the teacher what you would do in the same situation. Still, make it clear that you trust the teacher to make the decision he or she thinks is best. Build in time for peer collaboration. Peer collaboration between teachers is extremely effective because it improves teacher relationships, allows teachers to share best practices, and gives new teachers the chance to learn from more experienced educators. In many cases, it is especially helpful if teachers can have common planning periods with those who teach the same subject or grade level. Consider setting up a mentoring program or providing time for newer teachers to observe veteran teachers in the classroom. By doing so, you're investing in the quality of instruction at your school. Support your teachers' decisions. When parents complain about a grading or discipline decision and the administrator sides with the parent, it undermines the teacher's authority in the classroom. Of course, there are some situations when you absolutely can't support a teacher's decision. But if it's not against school policy and it's not ethically or morally wrong, do your best to back your teachers and demonstrate that you value their professional opinions and choices. When teachers know you're in their corner, their enthusiasm and willingness to work with you and for you will increase exponentially. Ensure that evaluations are meaningful. Teacher evaluations sometimes drive a wedge between teachers and administrators. When it comes to how administrators can support teachers, providing meaningful, fair evaluations is essential. Remember that the ultimate goal of evaluations is to help teachers maximize their overall effectiveness. To do this, you must provide specific constructive criticism that guides teachers in the right direction. When you identify areas that need improvement, also mention positive behaviors or strategies you observed in the classroom. You may wish to use the sandwich method by starting with positive feedback, providing your constructive criticism, and then ending on a positive note. Be willing to answer questions and discuss your evaluations with teachers. Provide concrete suggestions for improvement instead of general unhelpful criticism. Using these strategies, you can transform evaluations from a point of contention to a valuable tool that helps your teachers improve. Listen to feedback. All great leaders must be willing to listen to feedback. You are the primary decision maker at your school, but you'll increase buy-in dramatically if you allow teachers to be part of the decision-making process. Utilize polls, perhaps through Google Forms, to gather opinions on important decisions, although you'll have the final say. You can also have a suggestion box in the main office. Your teachers work directly with students every day and are a valuable resource for brilliant ideas and creative solutions. Understand the value of time. Teachers are required to create engaging lessons, design their materials, grade student work, contact parents, provide extra help. The list goes on. And these are just basic expectations. If there is one thing that teachers consistently ask for, it is time. Time to plan, create videos, create conference with students, and so on. Encourage unstructured time. Again, a pandemic has altered this, and hopefully, for some, a lot more unstructured time is available. Teachers need time to think and apply what they know in order to create incredible lessons. They need time to do what you hired them to do. They need you to trust them. And offer choice of professional learning. Forcing educators to engage in one-size-fits-all professional development at this time will likely be hit or miss depending on the teacher. Growth and improvement are of vital importance, but professional learning needs to be something that educators want to engage in at a time when there are so many challenges. It's also wise to gather input from staff to determine what they feel they need. I have just finished my presentation. I would like to close it with a few thoughts. Principals and other school administrators are in the unique position to support teachers and other school personnel through positive interactions, genuine expressions of care for teachers' overall well-being, and portrayal of confidence in the school team. Administrators can help teachers not only survive but thrive in the most challenging time. By taking the time to apply the 4 domains of administrative support, namely Domain 1, emotional support, Domain 2, appraisal support, Domain 3, instrumental support, and Domain 4, informational support, administrators and members of the school leadership team can help foster a community of support within a faculty. When properly supported, teachers are better equipped to focus on the needs of their students, resulting in a more positive environment for all involved to achieve the ultimate aim of education: improved student learning outcomes. Thank you for your participation.
We have now finished watching our second video for today's topic. So if you have any questions, please kindly voice up, raise your hand and maybe unmute yourself, or kindly type them into the chat box. So I can now see that we have one input from Ms. Susan Sa in the chat box, Dr. Anita.
Okay, again, thank you so much for watching the video. And I have now many things to read and share my thoughts. So we have here from, this is from Miss Mijares. Am I right? First one. Okay, Luzette Mijares. Okay, it's a direct message. I'm so sorry, but this is a direct message, but I hope it's okay with you. The question is, do you believe that administration must provide financial support for teachers' professional growth? Very interesting question. But I would say, if you ask me about it, I would say yes. Administration must provide financial support for teachers' professional growth. The question here is that financial support is not really a personal money of the administrators, whoever, but that is allocated for teachers. There must be a budget for the professional growth of teachers. And the administration must do that. It is a must. That is why that budget would be in the form of seminars, in the form of conferences or trainings. That is already a professional growth. And apart from it also, I wonder if there is a budget for a particular advanced study of your school. Some schools have it, but some don't have, because it's really a big money. But what happens to other schools is that they have these donations from industries for the support of teachers, individual teachers, professional support. So we have this community of teachers, professional growth, budget. But there is also that individual teacher that after graduating this to maybe like master's study, then another teacher will come. That would depend on the school now, but I guess there are. Now in colleges or universities, we have this personal professional support of teacher, professional growth of teacher in the form of free tuition, studying in that school, something like that. But for secondary education, for instance, there must be a budget. The school has allocated a budget for teachers' professional development. That is a must, because that's quite important. Very, very important. It's critical. Attending to seminars, conferences, trainings, and so on. I hope I have answered your question. You can make a follow-up. Now, another one is from Susan Saang. Some of the newly hired teachers are showing best skills, especially if they come from a private school. The problem is they seem to feel they are better than the others. My question is, how are we going to approach them in a manner that they will also realize the importance of listening and accept positive criticism. Okay, this is quite interesting. That is really happening, especially for young teachers. Young teachers fresh from school, some of them are just maybe, some of them have just graduated or newly to teaching profession. They are so motivated, they are so dynamic, they are so, I would say, enthusiastic to teaching and to share what they have learned, to that extent that, they seem to be, I would say, feeling above than other teachers who have been there for a long time. That seems to be really a problem. But they are just that motivated. But I would say it is not good also that you will continue doing it. It will disturb, the unity of the faculty. It is, I would say, to some teachers, they're annoyed, and that would be really a problem, a barrier for improved student learning, because there will be a faction, a division, it's a grouping. So there is not that the unity is hampered. So the question is, how are we going to approach them in a manner that they will also realize the importance of listening and accepting positive criticism? Now, I wonder if there are many in your school, but I would say it will be good if they will be approached individually and say it, in a manner that they will not retaliate. So, how will that be done? I suppose you're going to approach that person. Firstly, you can make an appointment. You cannot just grab the person and then grab the teacher and then sit down and say something. You need to make an appointment that you would like to say something, to share something. And with the time, then you can sit down and you first, this is it now. I mentioned in my presentation, you can use the sandwich method in your approach. You first start with appreciating, maybe her skills or your performance, or appreciating what she's doing for the school. And she's just doing good. And it's great to have her in the school. All these good points. And then in the middle of the conversation, you can start saying, I hope you won't mind. However, I have some observations, and I hope you won't mind telling you this in person. I didn't tell anybody, but I'd like you to know this, because we are one. I respect you. And so then you just list down what are the things that you would like him or her to check. And then say, how about, and then say, do you think listening and accepting feedback do good? I mean, you can approach the person in a manner that is not pushing the person on the wall, in a manner that the person has a space. And then in that one, in a positive note, like, you're really doing great, and I'm really happy to have, something like that. And I hope that our conversation matters with you. And so you can, and then be friend. So I guess when that person knows what is in your mind and what are you feeling about, then there's no reason for not change. After all, the purpose of coming to school is to be one with the teachers and to impact change and, to teach. So basically, all teachers have the same goal. That is to teach and to make change in the lives of the students. But there are aspects that need to be addressed in process so that there is a smooth, teaching and learning. Maybe not really perfectly smooth, but at least tolerable, I would say. So I hope I have shared with you my thoughts. Okay, thank you for that question. Now, okay, that's good. It's answered by the 4 domains. That's very nice. Okay. Now we have here from Sarim. Can you give an example of applying feedback model, sandwich feedback? I think I have already given that sample a while ago. So again, the sandwich feedback is you start with a positive note and then your constructive criticism and end that one with a positive note. But you see, we have to be very careful in the language that we use. We must be polite in that manner because our purpose is to check what we feel not desirable, but we love the person. It's just the thing that the person is doing that we don't like. But in general, as a whole, we like the person. We should keep that in mind. The person is good. It's just that we have both limitations. We have strengths and weaknesses. It's because we are not perfect. No one is. So our purpose of giving feedback is to check, to help the person improve, not to hate the person. That's another thing. Sometimes as a human being, I tend to do that in my experience. Say, I don't like that, I hate. But then I say, okay, a while, reflect and listen to yourself, the voice of your inner self. You don't really hate the person. It's just the thing the person is doing. So I'd like to check that. So we do the sandwich method. And that's the purpose of the sandwich method. I hope I have given you my thought. And you can always ask me if you like follow-up question or share your thoughts. Okay, Mr. Lamberto. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much for a very informative, insightful, and enriching second presentation about administrative support and involvement. I really find your presentation so clear and highly relevant to my present context. Oh, thank you so much for your feedback. I love it. In other words, I like that my presentation makes sense to you. After all, that's the purpose of presenting. But we share thoughts, and I'm happy that it has meaning to you. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you to Luzette Mijares for your question. Okay, so we have here some insights from Mr. Lamberto. I'm so lucky to have a school head who is so supportive, understanding, and empowering. All domains are covered pertaining to administrative support and involvement. Thus, in this regard, everyone in our school is highly motivated and unity among teachers are fostered. Oh, nice. I am really happy and contented with today's webinar. Congratulations to you and Chao Lu. Keep it up. Definitely super webinar. Thank you too for your thoughts. Really, so inspiring and motivating. Okay. Welcome, Susan and Sarim and Sister Ria. Thank you too for writing down and sharing your thoughts. Very inspiring class we have today. Thank you. And also from Wilma Tolentino, very inspiring mom. Thank you. And Joel Templa, very informative and inspiring. Okay. Thank you again for the encouragement and support. Is this a support? Yes, this is a support. Okay, so we have here very good insights about feedback, very inspiring and relevant. Thank you. Thank you to Gabi Ares. So Miss Chow, do we have more?
From my side, I don't think that we have any more questions. Yes.
You can grab the microphone if you would feel like writing will take time. Yeah. I am really happy that some schools are specifically the sharing of Mr. Lamberto. The school head is really using the 4 domains, of administrative support. If you'd like to think about these domains, they are really covering the essentials, that teacher needs. See, the first domain is about emotional support, and this is the inner strength of the teachers. The inner, it's emotional support, inner strength, and this is quite important, very important. And then we speak of appraisal support. This is to do with the performance of the teacher, to improve the performance of the teachers, to appraise. There must be feedback, there must be coaching, and there must be maybe like class observations. But the purpose of class observation is not to humiliate the teachers. It should not be like that. The purpose is to help the teachers improve. Okay? Not to dismiss whatever is being done in the classroom. I have heard feedback from teachers that the one observing classes, after the observation, will talk to other heads or other one and then make a chica, chismis, what has been. That is not, it's beyond. We are not doing that. That should not supposed to happen. So the purpose is really a kind of a collegiality, a friendly observation. Friendly. After all, the teachers are the frontliners of education. They are the big assets of the school. School cannot exist without that. Everyone is important. All are important. The school cannot exist without administrators as well as teachers. Both are really very significant people. So just, respect and give honest observation straight to the person. That's why I said one-to-one is feedbacking is really very important. And then after that, that's emotional support. We need that. And then as again, appraisals to increase the performance of the teachers. Help. That's work-related task. That is appraisal. And then we have this instrumental support. Instrumental support now is about giving space and resources to teachers. What they lack. Space. Maybe good working environment. Materials they need. The equipment they need to be able to teach effectively. Maximize learning. And then we have this informational support. This is now giving a clear information about the mission, vision, goals, objectives of the school, about rules and policies, about, information about professional growth, encourage teachers to continually grow and develop to become really effective teachers. That is if we would like really to have a quality education. We need quality education. We need quality change. So I'm happy that schools are doing that. I will be sad if I know that some schools are not having professional learning communities. That's the saddest thing to know. Okay, so now we have here. Okay, from Susan, attitude matters. Yeah, attitude. The attitude of teachers, administrators matters a lot. I hope what you said will become true here in our place. I hope and I wish. I hope you can start sharing. You spread out. But it's shared with your administrators. If your administrators are not with us, today or something like that. Maybe you can reach out. I hope. And then you have your constructive criticism will help both observer and the teacher. Yes, you said. Thank you for agreeing that one and for confirming. It is indeed an inspiring and relevant topic. Thank you, Janine, Pauline, Sherda. And we have here from Gabi Ares. Hope and pray we have it here. Oh my, for our principal love to bully teachers. That's another thing. So sad. Not open for questions. I wonder, okay, in this regard, Mr. Gabi Aris, I hope I'm right. Didn't you have evaluation for your principals? And somehow their schools conducting also evaluation to their principals. I guess that's quite important. If teachers are evaluated, then why can't we evaluate our administrators? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's the only way if we have this evaluation. And the evaluation is conducted by the regional supervisor or the higher office. evaluation for principals will be conducted by the higher office. Okay, thank you too, Tin Marwin, for your thoughts. That is only true in private schools. Okay. Oh, really? I thought public schools are having it also. I guess you're referring to evaluations, principal evaluation. Oh, it should not be like that. I suppose all schools, regardless whether private or public schools, there must be evaluation of the principals. Okay, Christine Joy Bores, learned a lot from you. Thank you. Okay. Yes, I will pass off your regards to my daughter. In public school, principals are protected. Oh, really? Are protected by the higher office? That's quite, I think education, if you see what I am thinking about it, if education is for quality education, if this is the mindset of the higher office, then it must be handled fairly. With that note, there must be evaluations, both the administrators and teachers, to implement quality education. Administrators who are doing good would like that. But I know administrators who are not doing good won't like it. But regardless whether they like it or not, there should be evaluation for the good of the school. May thanks a million. Okay, thank you too for joining. And I hope you will be joining next session. That will be in the month of November. Ms. Chow, do we have more from your end?
From my end, that's all the questions.
Okay. So thank you so much for joining us today. We're sorry that the program now was extended, like it's supposed to be October 21, but we extended it to today, October 28, for really very, very important reason, important event in the center. And I'm glad that you're still here with us. So happy to see you back. And for those who have just joining today, we welcome you to our MOTP Series 2021-2022. And hoping to see you next sessions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anita, and thank you to all our participants for your engaging participation in the section today. So before we closing our section, I would like to remind you with some important notes. First of all materials and assignments are available on our program's website under Modules 2022-2023 section and are also shared in the chat box. So please kindly download and save them to your devices. Please complete the assignment on the 2 Google Forms before Monday, November the 7th, and your assignment will be subjected to evaluation before we issue the e-certificate to your email. Second, your name on the assignment will be the one used in your certificate of completion, so please make sure to input it correctly. Finally, please fill in your email into the attendant link for today's section. Kindly support spreading information about this MOTP to your colleagues and friends to make a better impact on our community. We look forward to meeting you again soon, and goodbye for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And bye for now. See you next sessions.
See you. Thank you, teacher. Thank you so much, teacher.
Thank you too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Anya.
Thank you so much,
Yeah,
Dr.
thank you.
Anita.
Welcome. You are always in my heart.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you.
See you
See you next sessions.
next. Yes.